big hand.
Hi. Hi. I just leave some time to get people in and out the room. Maybe I go also outside the room. So, okay. Let's start. My name is Jef. I yesterday gave a pre-conference workshop about the electricity of learning. And what I'm going to explain you is what is passion-based learning from my perspective. I used to be a corporate learning officer within a big company in Belgium and tried to change it into a learning and innovative organization. I tried for 3 years and then I gave up. So it's very hard to change cultures of organizations. So, and what I'm going to tell you is a story based on my experience, and I'm also going to explain you what, from my point of view, education should do. So I got something like 45 slides, and I forgot them all. Because I will be surprised also when I see my next slide. So give me a minute. The first thing is I'm really going to tell you a story. It's about what is happening today in the world, as Julie explained it from another point of view. The world is changing very fast, which I call switch 3D. We are going to 3D. It will become clear in a second. And what I really believe is that education can change tomorrow. It's possible. It's the same thing like organizations. Culture of organization can change tomorrow. So you are able to do that, but it's not allowed. And that's the problem. So we can change everything, but the people who have the power today are not capable, but they keep the power. So we need a power shift. So, and that's what I'm trying to explain. So it's going to be an awakening. You just have to understand me. If you don't understand me, it's not my fault. This means you don't have sufficient background knowledge. And if you understand me and you don't agree, that's not my problem either. But if you understand me and you agree, then you have to do something with it. So it's an awakening. So what the fuck is happening? The reason why I'm saying that is that everybody is trying to change, but first of all, we have to understand why we have to change. Why education has to change, why organizations have to change, why we as an individual have to change. So, and that's the reason why I call this session passion-based learning, and it's going to become clear, but I'm going to explain that in a few steps. I don't know where I have to stand. I just move around. So the first step is, what is happening? And everybody in this conference is telling this, but we are now moving to a global information wave. And I'm 60, you was also 60 in the room. I never worked harder. I wish I was 20 or 15 again. We are living in a time frame where everybody can become what he is born for. It never happened. So now we have an opportunity. So it started with the Industrial Revolution. We added steam, steel, oil, information technology. I started to work in telecommunication in '79. If we wanted to communicate with each other, it was with a fixed line. Remember the line? Dialing the number was longer than a conversation. And we had a telex, we had a fax, we had Morse. And now we have all this social media. And this social media, it's not just social media, but it helps people to connect with everybody in the world. And what I see today, for instance, who uses WhatsApp? Who uses WhatsApp with children and his colleagues at work? You have to see it from my point of view. Who uses WhatsApp? Everybody. Who uses WhatsApp at work? Nobody, or few. This is very strange. So we have all these means of learning, and it's not used in education, or it's not used in industry, where I come from. So we have to ask ourselves, how does it come? And in order to make it clear, I use this canvas. And we are coming from a 2D time frame, which means flat. Information shortage. I was born in information shortage. You know what it means? This means that at home you can't learn. And so during the Industrial Revolution, we needed people who were educated. That's when schools were born. Schools were born from necessity, because people couldn't learn at home. And then we created schools with books, with a blackboard, with teachers and a classroom. Technology at that point in time, which was very innovative. But in that school, students couldn't become smarter than the teacher. It was impossible because we didn't have access to information. And what happens today is we have an information explosion, and now it's not flat anymore. We are living in information luxury. The information is increasing, and today children at home have more access to information than in schools. This is a problem. A lot of people working in companies can learn faster at home than in their company. And this is the biggest shit I've ever seen. This is not education. So what happens now is, and this guy was right, he said we are moving to a disruptive time frame. And we have to understand it. What we see now is a struggle between the 2D smarts, which are people who became smart in an information shortage, and 3D smarts who are so passionate, they jump into the information flow, they know all social media, have networking, social learning, they learn every day, and every day they jump in information, they become smarter. And this is what is happening. This is what is really happening. So, but first, to understand it, we have to understand where we're from. All of you are 2D smarts. We went to an educational system where we couldn't learn. Our educational system is not built for passion and talents. Our educational system is built for people with discipline and intelligence. Because if we would build an educational system for passion and talents, students wouldn't study so long. We can accelerate learning if students could study in their passion and talents. And in industry, it's the same thing. Industry is not built for employees with a passion and talents. You have a function description. So what we really did is, we didn't build schools, we didn't build work. School is a prison. And you're the prison keepers. And there's a terrific quote, this guy said it, if you put fences around people, you get sheep. So most of the students, what do? Meh. And most employees, what do? Meh. When is the weekend? When is the holiday? When can I go on a pension? But nobody gets really energy from who he is. So this is the problem. Why? Because we invented diplomas and function descriptions. So I explained you before, we have to understand what is happening. So what is happening now is, Houston, we have a problem. 80% of people today are not engaged. They're not passionate about what they're doing. They're not passionate about what they're studying. So it's impossible to learn. So what is happening now? We are facing a revolution. 3D smarts are taking over the world. And I will explain you what a 3D smart is, from my experience. I never studied in this. I have a degree in engineering. I'm not a pedagogue, a very difficult word. I really had a problem with languages in school, so very difficult words. But what happens now is a 3D smart wave. And these people, I will explain you what a 3D smart is. It's a human. And you know what happens with humans? We are born, and real learning only happens when you're in a groove with your talents. So in this room, you were born, but we were born without a handout. I wasn't born with a piece of paper on my foot that said, hey Jeff, these are your talents, go for it. They forgot it. So we don't know who we are. A tulip knows. I explained it yesterday. A tulip says, you're a tulip. And what does it become? A tulip. But we don't know it. But we know that everybody has talents. This is real diversity. It's not the color of your skin. That's paint of nature. You can't get it off. But real diversity is who you are. The reason why you were born. Your destination. The problem is we don't know it. We have to find it out. So our whole life, and I'm 60, I hope I live until 80, I'm still figuring out what are my talents. So, but how can you find your talents? You have to become passionate. And I heard a lot of talk about passion. Do you know what the real meaning of passion is? It's in a dictionary. It says, passion comes from passio, Latin. It means suffering. So if people tell me I'm passionate, I want to see them suffer. If I'm an athlete, I'm an athlete, I'm passionate about running, then I see you suffering. Do you really think students are passionate? They're not suffering. They suffer because they're in the prison. But they don't suffer because they want to learn. Do you really think teachers are passionate about new learning environments? No, they just come to work. Are they passionate to suffer? No. They just wake up and they get a burnout or stress, but they're not passionate. Now imagine that you are passionate about your talents. That's your destiny. If you're passionate about something you don't have a talent in, then you have a university degree. Why? Because you only get a university degree because you succeeded in courses you didn't like to study. You didn't get a university degree because you could select courses you were passionate about. No. And the longer you do that, the longer you adapt, the more sheep you are. Now imagine that you are passionate about suffering. Who wants to suffer all the time? Nobody. And that's the trick. People who are passionate in suffering in their talents, they want to suffer less. They want to achieve goals. And you know how you can suffer less? By information. And that's learning. So what is real learning? Real learning are passionate people who want to suffer. And they learn every day. And they learn and they use social media because they know they can connect. And if people don't use social media in their job, I know they are not passionate to suffer. And if students don't use technology to learn, I know they are not passionate. Because if students could study courses they're passionate about, they would use social media and all these new technologies. And you know what happens? And this is magic. This is who we are. The moment you study every day in something you're passionate to suffer, in your talent, and you do something with it, action, you reward it. You know how? Dopamine. And dopamine is something you get, it comes in your brain, it gives you a very good feeling, you crosses your boundary, you put your thing. So people who are passionate to suffer, learn every day, they want an evaluation, they want scores, they want points. But of course we don't want points because too many students have to study courses they don't have the passion and talents for, so they say no points. It's a system that's wrong. And this is really competence development. So these people today are taking over the world. These people are a pain in the ass for your educational system. These people are a pain in the ass for the managers in organizations today because they learn every day, every moment. They are connected, so it's not a question if technology is an enhancer for learning. Technology is, but if you have to do something where you don't have the passion for, it isn't. Is that so difficult to understand? You can't change an organization by introducing technology. You have to do it differently. So the point is, this is one of the best quotes I ever found. The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. 80% of us never find the second day. And they die and they have one question. Why was I here? Why, what was why? Because they never found out who they really are. And you know why? Because they became addicted to their talents. Now you have to understand this. If you want to change education, this is the foundation. This is the foundation. So what is the impact of these 3D smarts on the world, on learning? It's very easy. They learn every day. They're getting information, the brain got new neural connection, they give information, and they do this every moment, every day, going on, uninterrupted, all the time. And they are changing the world. This is motivation. Everybody knows what gamification is. Do you know what children do when they play games? Who has children who likes to play games and every time he loses? Nobody. We are made to win. So what happens with a child? He plays a game, he has the passion to suffer, he learns and he loses, and the next thing he says, Dad, I want another game. He tries again, passion to suffer, he learns every day, he loses again, Dad, I want another game. And then suddenly he finds a game, passion to suffer, learns every day, and he wins. Why? Because it's in its talent. And then they have the passion to suffer to go to the next level, because they get dopamine. That's gamification. Gamification has nothing to do with introducing games as for learning. Gamification is a state of mind. So if you think about this, what is the biggest impact of these 3D smarts? Well, these 3D smarts are changing the world. How? Well, easy. They are innovating every time. I just give you some examples. Information is becoming an explosion. 3D smarts jump in the information flow, come up with new ideas, start crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, bring it into practice. They change the world, and this is going faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. I'll give you some examples. Drones, home connected, in the cloud connected houses, Uber, 3D printing, Airbnb, gamification at work, blockchain, live streaming, robotics, Kickstarter project, automotive industry, internet medicine, the whole thing about gamification at work, flipped classroom, new materials, augmented reality, virtual reality, new energy sources, robotics, whatever you call it, the sharing economy, the search to the circle economy, zero waste, the whole search about new democracy systems, where real values win. Not salesperson, but real values, human values. The whole search about basic income. Do we really think this is produced by sheep? Or people with a university degree? No. It's produced by people who have found a passion for their talents and learn every day. So, what's the impact? A lot of organizations are not able to survive in this very changing environment, inclusive education. You are not able to survive to adapt to this system. So this thing, a collapse of the educational system. This is my degree. I burned it. I put it into a coffin. So, or this thing, a global SOS. We are living in a global SOS, which means save our sheep. And this is human evolution. This is industrial revolution. We created 2D schools and 2D environments, and now everybody is a sheep. So what do we have to do? No sheeping. I got some stickers with me. I got some stickers. My son is with me. He has a sticker, so if you want one, you can have one. So put it on your boss's office. We have to start a revolution. So what we see now is organizations are in search of a new balance. All organizations all over the world are trying to figure out how do we create new organizational cultures. Not for sheep, but for people who are passionate and talented about who they are. Give freedom to the human mind. Our 2D educational system doesn't give freedom to the human mind. It's a fraud. It's something born in an information shortage. It hasn't adapted. So what do we have to do? We have to surge it. You need the passion to suffer to create a new system for our children and grandchildren and over-grandchildren. So what do we have to do? It's a drama. Organizations we have to disrupt education. And what I'm going to tell you is, this is for me the basis. 3 students with passion and talents in a course should have the freedom to accelerate their learning dramatically. If I'm the passion and talents about physics, flipped classroom could be an answer. I can go to the next level. In education, it's possible. In games, it's possible. Imagine I'm a passionate and talented gamer, and I'm so good, and I reach a certain level, then I go to the next level. Games are not created by education. If it would be created by education, you know what happens? After 2 months, you're ready for the next level, and then they say you have to wait another 10 months to go to the next level. This is what you created. But we need the freedom to accelerate. And the next thing is, if students without passion or talents in a course, they should have the freedom to slow down or choose other courses. This means that you have to re-engineer. This means that if I'm a child, I can go to school, find the courses with passion and talent, whether it's mathematics or cooking or whatever. I don't care, but you have to get rid of degrees. It has to be an open system. So, and education without this freedom builds prisons instead of schools. So the point is, we have to focus on something. And now I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm 60 years, so I hope I have a little bit of wisdom. I'll explain you why it's so difficult to change organizations. And I call this the power defect. And what is the power defect? It's very easy. I explain it in 2 steps. Does anybody know in the room the real definition of being competent? Do you know what, if you're competent, do you know what it means? I found it in a dictionary, a Dutch dictionary, but it's the same in all dictionaries. If you're competent, this means that the first thing is you are capable in doing something right. That's the first definition. The second definition is you're authorized to do it. So if you're competent, this means that you're capable and you're allowed to do it. And everything is about that. So I was thinking about how come organizations don't change. So I started and I drew this picture. So I said in this graph, capability, no, and yes. And the other graph I said authorized, no, and yes. So it's very easy. You have to keep it simple. Otherwise sheep don't understand. So now I'm going to explain you what is competence development. The first thing is this thing. You're not capable and not authorized. Somebody else tells you how to do it and what to do. But what we should become, all of us, we should become very competent. In what? In our talents. So this means when are you very competent? That you're very capable and very authorized. That's our goal. If I would be the talent of flying, I should be allowed to fly. If I'm whatever. But the problem today is that 3D smarts today are accelerating in their learning. And a lot of young teachers and young people who have the passion to suffer in their talent, who have all these skills to learn very fast, are becoming very capable, but not authorized. And this is the problem. And you know why? Because a lot of other people who aren't 3D smart, they are not capable but still have the authority to do it. And this is the problem. They don't want to give the power to people who are capable and not authorized. And this is killing innovation in education. A lot of teachers are 3D smarts, but the old teachers who don't know it, they sabotage. And probably your manager is the same thing. Not capable, but authorized. And they stop disruption. So what we have to do is this is 3D smarting. We have to do this, and this is happening, the power defect. It's a defect in organizations. All these people who were very clever in 2D but don't have the passion and talent because they have a university degree, can't follow anymore, and they keep the power. So you don't have to explain me why education doesn't innovate. You're not allowed. And it's the same in companies. So I'm going to the final slides. My conclusion is very easy. The power defect in education. Too many teachers, school managers, and decision makers are incompetent. Incapable, but still authorized. And they keep killing the passion and talent of our children. And I'm fed up with it. We need a revolution. We need a revolution. Why? We need passion and talent-based learning. We need to power the 3D capable and empower the 3D incapable now. So the only thing I need from you, you have to be 3D heroes. And you can download my handouts with this QR code. Thank you very much for this spotlight session.